Welcome to the shadows of the human mind. Most people walk through life assuming everyone perceives the world just as they do, with empathy, a conscience, and a sense of fairness. But there is a hidden percentage of the population that operates on a completely different frequency. They don't see people, they see tools. They don't feel guilt, they feel strategy. Today, we are diving deep into the most dangerous intersection of personality traits known to modern psychology, the Dark Triad. This is the unholy trinity of narcissism, Machiavellianism, and psychopathy. By the end of this session, you will not only understand how these predators think, but you will possess the psychological toolkit to spot them before they spot you. We begin with the first pillar, the narcissist. Unlike the common misconception, narcissism isn't just about vanity or taking too many selfies. Clinical narcissism is a profound deficit in empathy masked by a grandiose sense of self-importance. To a narcissist, the world is a stage, and they are the only ones with a speaking part. Everyone else is merely an extra. They survive on narcissistic supply, a constant stream of attention, praise, or even fear. If you find yourself in their orbit, notice the cycle. The love bombing stage where they put you on a pedestal, followed by the devaluation stage where they chip away at your self-esteem, and finally the discard. They don't leave because they are bored. They leave because they have drained you of your utility. But while the narcissist craves the spotlight, the second pillar, the Machiavellian, prefers the shadows. Named after Niccolò Machiavelli, this trait is defined by cold, calculated manipulation. If the narcissist is the actor, the Machiavellian is the director. They are the ultimate strategists. They don't care about being loved. They care about being effective. To a Machiavellian, the end justifies the means isn't just a quote. It is a lifestyle. They are masters of the long game, building alliances only to betray them the moment it becomes profitable. They are charming, patient, and incredibly dangerous because you never see the knife until it's already between your shoulder blades. They don't react with anger. They react with a plan. Then we reach the most chilling pillar of all, the psychopath. This is the hardware level of the Dark Triad. While narcissists need ego and Machiavellians need power, the psychopath often seeks nothing but stimulation. They possess a complete lack of remorse and a terrifyingly high threshold for fear. In a situation where a normal person's heart would race, a lie, a confrontation, a dangerous act, the psychopath's heart rate remains steady. This coolness is often mistaken for charisma or leadership. They are the social chameleons, mimicking human emotions they don't actually feel. They study you. They learn what makes you cry, what makes you laugh, and they play those chords like a piano to get what they want. When these three traits overlap in a single individual, you encounter the Dark Triad personality. This is someone who is entitled enough to believe they deserve your resources, strategic enough to take them without you noticing, and cold enough to not care about the wreckage they leave behind. To spot them, you must look past the charm. Look at how they treat people who can do absolutely nothing for them. Watch their eyes when they think no one is looking. Listen for the pity play, a common tactic where they frame themselves as the victim to bypass your boundaries. Understand this: you cannot change these individuals. You cannot love a narcissist into having empathy. You cannot be loyal enough to stop a Machiavellian from scheming, and you cannot appeal to the conscience of a psychopath because the conscience simply isn't there. Your only defense is awareness. Knowledge is the only shield that works in the dark. Protect your peace, guard your boundaries, and never forget that not every smiling face has a soul behind it. This is the reality of the Dark Triad. Now that you know the signs, the choice to stay or walk away is finally in your hands. The transition from recognizing these individuals to surviving their influence requires a shift in your own psychological architecture. Once you understand the mechanics of the Dark Triad, you realize that your traditional emotional responses, logic, fairness, and empathy, are actually the vulnerabilities they exploit. To counter a predator, you must stop speaking the language of a victim. You must enter the phase of the strategic guard. The most powerful weapon in the narcissist's arsenal is the fragmented self-image. They want you to doubt your own reality, a process known as gaslighting. To counter this, you must become an objective historian of your own life. Write things down. Keep a record of the love bombing and the subsequent cold shoulder. When they try to rewrite the past to make you the villain, you will have the ink and paper proof of the truth. Do not argue with a narcissist. To argue is to give them supply. It tells them they still have the power to upset you. Instead, adopt the gray rock method. Become as boring, as unreactive, and as uninteresting as a plain gray rock. When they realize they can no longer elicit an emotional reaction from you, they will eventually move on to a more vibrant source of energy. Dealing with the Machiavellian requires a different kind of armor. Information asymmetry. A Machiavellian wins because they know more about your weaknesses than you know about their intentions. To protect yourself, you must practice radical privacy. Stop oversharing your dreams, your fears, and your secrets. In a professional or social setting, the Machiavellian uses your personal information as currency to trade with others. By becoming a closed book, you deprive them of the leverage they need to move you like a chess piece. Watch their patterns, not their words. A Machiavellian's history is a trail of broken alliances masked by professional success. If everyone who worked with them in the past is now an enemy, you are simply the next target in line. The psychopath, however, is the most difficult to manage because they lack the emotional brake that stops normal humans from going too far. With a psychopath, there is no negotiation, only risk mitigation. If you identify a psychopathic trait in a boss, a partner, or a friend, your goal is not to win. Your goal is to exit. You must create fortress boundaries. These are non-negotiable lines in the sand that, if crossed, result in your immediate departure. Because the psychopath views social interactions as a game of dominance, the only way to win is to refuse to play. They are looking for high-yield, low-effort targets. By making yourself high-effort through strict boundaries and zero emotional transparency, you become an unattractive prospect for their games. The ultimate realization is that the Dark Triad operates on short-term exploitation, while healthy human society operates on long-term cooperation. They may win the battle, they may get the promotion, the money, or the temporary devotion of a partner, but they lose the war of a meaningful life. They are trapped in a perpetual cycle of hunting and discarding, never knowing the peace of a genuine connection. To truly rise above their influence, you must cultivate cognitive empathy. This means you understand how others feel without being drowned by those feelings yourself. It allows you to see the narcissist's bait without biting, the Machiavellian's trap without stepping in it, and the psychopath's mask without being charmed by it. You are not becoming like them. You are becoming aware of them. You are evolving from the sheep to the shepherd. You now possess the rarest form of sight, the ability to see the darkness clearly while choosing to remain in the light. This is your power. This is your protection. And from this moment forward, the shadows no longer have a place to hide. The final realization you must carry with you is that these personalities thrive in the silence and the confusion of their victims. They depend on you staying blind to the patterns, hoping you will prioritize your kindness over your survival. But by stripping away the mystery of the Dark Triad, you have taken back the power of the narrative. You are no longer an unsuspecting player in their game. You are the observer who understands the rules better than the players themselves. The human mind is a vast, complex landscape, capable of the highest altruism and the deepest, most calculated shadows. To navigate it safely, you must continue to sharpen your intuition and ground yourself in the truth of human behavior. Protection doesn't come from building walls of fear, but from building a fortress of knowledge. You now have the vision to see through the masks, the strength to hold your boundaries, and the wisdom to walk away from the darkness toward a life built on genuine connection and self-respect. The shadows only have power when they remain unseen. Now the lights are on, and the path ahead is yours to claim. Thank you for listening to this deep dive into the hidden corners of the psyche. If you found value in these insights, ensure you are subscribed for more psychological explorations. This has been a journey into the mind, brought to you by Voxlore Audio. Stay aware, stay grounded, and keep seeking the truth behind the human mask.